The way that I've understood our minds work, I don't say, well, I talked to you 4 weeks ago. My clock is on when is the last time you impacted my life. So if I did it 12 times a year, you're going to think you're talking to me all the time about valuable things.
Yeah.
Because I don't waste your time.
Hey, welcome to the podcast where dreams meet determination and success is just around the corner. I'm your host, Suzanne Taylor-King, and I'm here to help you unlock the full potential of your business and your life. Welcome to Unlock Your Way with STK. Let's unlock your path to success together. Good morning, everyone. It's Suzanne Taylor-King here for another Friday, 10 a.m. live. And today, do I have a treat for you? The word of mouth guy, the sales assassin, the lion leader, Joe Blackburn. Welcome to Unlock Your Way with STK.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm totally fired up and this is live. So I'll do my best.
Oh, hey, you can screw up. You can curse. You can totally be yourself, because that's kind of what these entrepreneur conversations are all about. And I started off doing this about 2.5 years ago, and Jason, our mutual friend, talked me into turning it into a podcast and a way to really connect and bring other great people to other great people. And you're so good at this. And I feel like I already know you. This is the first time we've talked.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to every episode except the one that just dropped yesterday. I feel like I have FOMO. I got to go listen to it while I was doing my hair this morning. And I want to just get into this idea, not only of being of value to other people, but how that makes other people feel about you and how that grows your business.
Awesome. Well, in word of mouth, you're taking up psychic real estate in someone's head. So they have some idea of who you are and what you're doing. And they start to feel like they know you and your mannerisms. You paid me a wonderful compliment. I believe you called me the quote genius on LinkedIn.
Yes.
That's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said.
Like everything you say, I'm like, I want to share that and I want to quote that. So,
well, that made my day. I appreciate it. And you know, it is funny. Just we met 3 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. I do feel like I know you, and that's that's the dynamic of getting out there, having the conversation, and you can do it. You know, Jason and I did a show a couple weeks ago about how do you do that through the screen, and that's what's happening right now. And hopefully, some people see this and they feel like they know us better. And it's one of those things. You know, as far as word of mouth goes, we've tried everything. And everything works and nothing works. If you do something consistently, it will work. I've just found that the word of mouth, it travels faster. It means more. The relationships are stronger. You know, you feel like you're part of someone's life more than just, hey, that's a client of mine or that's a business partner. You know, and Jason and I have never met in person, by the way. So he did the same thing to you that he did to me, talked me into doing these podcasts. It's the thing I look forward to the most because it's the most fun. And I have a rule: if it ain't fun, I don't do it. So I try to do it.
Hey, Jason and I have never met in person, and we work with clients together, numerous clients of mine are working with him. And hey, I'm just going to, since he's watching right now, I even got him a date with my best friend from college.
That is yeoman's work. Congratulations.
You know, I want to just say, I don't get all of my connections dates, but when I do, it's usually pretty awesome. So
that's unbelievable. Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I've resulted in a couple marriages and, a couple fix-ups, because I think when you're a connector of other people, you kind of see who would get along and who would be good for each other, not only in business, but in life too. And I don't want to be a matchmaker by any means, but it's kind of a natural thing that happens when you see commonalities between people. And one of my best referral partners is here, Daniel Andrews. So he taught me something really interesting. And that was that whole idea of people talking about you in rooms you're not in. So like right now, we mentioned Jason.
Mhm.
Jason Croft. We mentioned Daniel Andrews, who's watching, and that goes out to other people, and the power of that is not something to take lightly.
Yeah, it's amazing how small the world is now. I have clients all over the country, and some of them I didn't meet in person for a long time, but, everything's connected. I had a one of our assassins text me this morning, and he said he was watching old recordings, and he's in a town where a lot of our word of mouth has taken off, and he said, "I don't mention it by name, but I mentioned the situation." He's like, "I was involved in 4 of those." So, it's like such a small world, and I've never met him.
Yep.
He knows people that I know, and that's the beauty of it. I call it singing your song. You just want people to sing your song all day long. If what I do is something that someone needs, the first thing out of your mouth is you need to go see Joe or you need to go see Suzanne.
Yeah.
And super desperate, go see Jason. But that's just a shot at Jason because I love him and he's my best friend. So
I know. Right. No, he's my best friend, but we can fight about that later. Um, let's talk a little bit about how this concept of being a value, being a connector, has changed your business.
okay. Well, I mean, when I started my consulting or coaching business, I really just took what I was doing previously. I was in financial services. I was an advisor and I was an insurance agent before that, and then rose up through the ranks and everything. And it just, as we're dealing with people and their wealth and their dreams and all these things that are important to them, it's really difficult to be transactional. I
Yeah.
mean, they snip that out, they see it. People, especially people what I would consider with impact or influence or affluence, they don't want transactions. We were talking before here. I moved down to Orange Beach, Alabama from Illinois a few months ago, and you know, I I get everything that I need from someone else. I don't do it and like, break through walls on my own. It's just getting to know people. They're introducing people they know I can trust. I'm introducing people I know I can trust. And it creates a really strong network of people that they have skin in the game as far as delivering what you're talking about because they have someone that trusts them in the link, just like you and I do. We have
Yeah.
the commonality of Jason. So we're both wanting to do good for each other because we trust and like him at times. And that way, I'm going to pick on him all day. He
That's
probably
cool.
keep
Cool.
laughing. And so like it's a stronger connection, even if it's virtual. I
Right.
mean, it's something in my business, especially when you're in a coaching relationship we kind of think of ourselves as non-equity partners because coaching is an aspect of it. We have mastermind, we text. I mean, we know each other's families. It's a stronger connection so that we can go deeper and help people more versus just giving them a template and saying, "Hey, fill this out and then go do that." That most people don't do that. Number one, they if you gave them just random homework or whatever. But that really strengthened, my business. And when I went from just doing one-on-one to bringing people together in the mastermind, now they have all that connection that we just talked about.
Yeah.
So it's a collective. We call it the super conscious. Everybody's thinking in the same way. Everybody's moving in the same direction. Now they have different businesses, different places, different circumstances, but that commonality is really strong. The bond's strong. We got great retention, and quite frankly, that's who I spend all my time with.
Yeah.
That's where those are my friends. I guess is the way I would say that. Uh,
Yeah. Well, that goes back to something you said on your podcast about actually having these relationships with people is what enables you to be able to refer business to them, connect them to other people. Like, I can't just give a random introduction or referral unless I understand what that person does and who they are as a person and what that is going to look like when I put two people together. That reflects on me.
right.
And you said something really interesting about that because that idea that it reflects on Jason. Like, Jason introduced us, connected us because I was like fanning all over everything you said. And he was like, "Fine, I'll introduce you." And um I did have to twist his arm a little bit for that, but, anyway, this idea that that reflects on Jason.
Right.
Daniel, who's watching, he's connected me with some amazing people. He gets my best people because I know I get his best people. And I think that trust in each other results in more ROI for those introductions because other people feel that.
Correct. Well, so in Assassins or Line or whatever we're doing, we look at our connections and our clients, but we also look at influencers. And the way I describe an influencer is someone that know, likes, trusts, and you pay them.
Mhm.
So if I in the professional world, there's always professional skepticism, meaning
Yes.
a little suspect. But if someone sends me someone they care about, but is also paying them, there's risk involved because if I make a fool of myself, which has happened every once in a while, or there's a mistake or something, then it can cost them even further than their reputation or the humiliation. It costs them financially.
Yeah.
So that bond has to be really strong and the trust has to be really strong. And that's why you see people, they aren't doing it as much. It kind of went out of vogue for a while. They're putting walls up. And what I saw was like, look, if you're going to want to help someone, first of all, be the client you want. So like if I want to refer people or introduce people, I have to be the person I want my people to be. But that way I have a lot of skin in the game, not only just in how the relationship goes, but that I do my best work for them. And that just extrapolates. And now I call it skin in the game. Like we've all got skin in the game. So it's not just a random, go talk to this guy and see if it works out. There's skin in the game there. So we try to elevate it into that influencer world, which is where we are, so that the people benefit the most. And that's how I see it.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think it's I noticed that my schedule, for the past like 2 years, I only have those meetings with new people if they came from one of my trusted partners. And the wording around that actually upped my influence. It was I'm not just taking random, get to know you calls, and that was, Daniel saying huge levels of trust between us, and you don't need a lot of those people.
Right.
You only need 5 to 10 of those people that feel that way about you, and I think you could connect to, what, millions of people just vicariously through those 10.
Right. It's that old 6 degrees of separation or the
Yeah.
Ken floor. Everybody kind of has a link somewhere.
Yeah.
So I believe in that power and have witnessed it and experienced it throughout my career and my life. And when I think about it, now that you said that, I don't have a lot of friends.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's me, but I'm pretty protective about more so who I spend my time with. And
Yeah.
in Assassins, we stress that a lot because, if you're newer in a business or newer in the world, some of the people that you spend your time with may not be serving you, but
Mhm.
you from the law of familiarity, you've been around them a long time. And
Yeah.
it's not saying go out and just sever all your ties or whatever. It's just be conscious of who you give your time to,
Yeah.
who you connect with, because like you said, now I'm not just doing fit calls or introductory calls that person's doing it because they're doing someone else a favor. They're actually doing it because they want to connect and they want to grow together and collaborate. So that's a
Yeah.
huge game changer. And in today's world, everybody's busy enough. You don't have the time to waste on people that aren't really serious about, you know, giving to each other.
Yeah, and I think, coming to the realization that if I connect with somebody that you introduce me to, um, I think I need to show up a certain way, right, for you. And
Right.
that kinda led me to my referral partners have permission to use my calendar link to give my time, which, wow, that's
Stealing.
like setting
Stealing.
that's, like, very, very valuable, right?
Hmm.
And if one of my referral partners has a client for me, they have permission to say, "Look, I'm gonna introduce you to Suzanne, and she will waive her fee and consult with you for 60 minutes because I'm sending you there."
That's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
really, I'm stealing all this. So
You
keep
could
going.
totally steal it. Pushing. Because it comes from that place of being of value to other people, right? And you also said something really cool about your little notebook that
Oh,
you keep track of things. And I'm a huge fan of pen and paper because it actually ends up in here when I write it with a pen. Let's talk a little bit about how you keep track of people
mhm.
and what that looks like for you.
So for me, I'm maybe old school, but I think we call it there's a thing out there called Neuralink, but the real Neuralink is still in your hand.
Mhm.
And I've definitely experienced this. I got enough going on. I'll lose it if I don't write it down. I live my life on paper, so I have two notebooks here. I have a whiteboard here and a whiteboard here. So everyone that I need to be connected to is visible to me.
Yes.
Now you can't see it in this awesome background, but so if I have something or a person or something I need to be paying attention to, it's right in front of me, handwritten on a whiteboard, and then in my notebook. And then you mentioned the little black book.
Mhm.
This So this little black book,
Yep.
if you're out and about, I mean, you could thumb it into your phone. That doesn't generally help. I just write little notes down. I talk to this
Mhm.
person. We're meeting next week. It's a way to keep it moving in your mind. And then we don't really use a CRM. We did, but we do have for our pillars specifically. It's in Sheets or Excel or whatever the kids call that.
Mhm.
Oh, it's when's the last time you talked to him? What did you talk to him about? What can you do? What's the next
Yep.
step? And it's a progression. So you're progressing through the people you need to be taken care of, and it doesn't get lost because it's super easy to forget stuff. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think making it intentional, um, you describe your pillars process, that the steps
mm,
of building that relationship with somebody. What does that look like as far as following up with someone?
well,
I'm not very good at following up. I don't like
don't check in on them. Let's start there.
I hate that.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, I'm just calling to check in on you. Okay.
No.
Uh, I'm good. Peace. No, but so when we talk about our pillars, which are people may not know what that is. They pay you ideally, they introduce you, they like you, they listen to you, and give you unsolicited referrals. If you had 100 of those in your life, what would your life be like? Think that way.
Yeah.
So for them, it's a meaningful contact at least once a month. And when I say meaningful, meaning it's not, hey, I was calling to check in on. So that could be a coffee, that could be a lunch, that could be an update in something that's going on in the business that affects them. That could be a service call. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to not just waste someone's time, and that's a big thing. I mean, do you answer your cell phone often or your iPhone or whatever they call them? No, no one does. But if I
In fact, my friends get mad. They're like, "Why do you not answer your phone?" I'm like, "I'm at work." I
So
don't
now you have the beauty of text. But
Yeah.
however, if when you do contact someone, it is impactful or it's important, then they will answer.
Yes.
So it's not spam and they know it's you. And now if I'm just calling to check in on you, I'll let that go to voicemail. So you want to get a rhythm in the beginning of just a meaningful contact and staying connected to that person with that. And it's a fine line without being overbearing. I mean,
Agreed.
you can't call someone every day and be like, how are you doing? So that's the start in pillars is that meaningful contact. And most of our clients are in some form of service. So they do have a lot to talk about. There's the markets, the rates, the economy. There's so many things going on. And
Mhm.
you can reach out to someone and help them with something or give them something. We do it in our schools at times. We'll just every, week or so, we'll put something there that's tactical or useful. Hey, here's something we found. But more importantly, now the people in our schools do it when they see something. So now you're feeding a bigger beast. And that's a lot. That's what I really like about schools. You can connect almost daily on different things. But from a pillar standpoint, it's just one time a month, I want to make impact. And the way that I've understood our minds work, we don't measure time. I don't say, well, I talked to you 4 weeks ago. I have my clock is on when is the last time you impacted my life. So if I did it 12 times a year, you're going to think you're talking to me all the time about valuable things
Yeah.
because I don't waste your time. So that,
I love, love another quote from Joe.
I can't remember what I said.
I'm gonna have to write it down on the recording. Um, well, here's the thing, I have ideas all the time. Um, whether it's marketing ideas, content ideas, people ideas. And when those ideas come to me for someone else, that's my value driver. I
Right.
I just did it with somebody relatively new to me, and he doesn't know that I have notebooks full of ideas. And I messaged him and I said, I thought about you today and I have an idea.
I love it.
And just a random idea. I don't give away crappy ideas. I give away my best ideas. And I talked to him for 15 minutes on Monday, and he said it's the best message he's gotten on Facebook in a long time. And he said, the fact that you called me with the idea, and it wasn't some generic idea. It was very specific and actually for him. That was the key. It's actually for him. It's not like a made up ruse to have a
Right.
conversation with the North Star.
Paul.
Yeah, no, not at all. And at the end of the, 8 or 15, yeah, no more than 15 minutes that I talked to him, he said, you made my day.
Wow. That's
Wow.
what you set out to do, right?
Yeah.
What if you made someone's day every day? Just
Do
curious.
that.
Well,
Do
we call it, I used to say your antenna
Mhm.
in the old days, but now have your Wi-Fi on. If I have if I turn my Wi-Fi on, I pick up things and then I have that person in my mind, the connectivity, and I think it's awesome you acted on it because most people just, oh, that was a good idea. And then, I get busy or my kid gets sick or whatever
Yeah.
it brings.
Yeah.
So I mean, I, it's not always best to act on impulse. However, people do like when you think about them. What we say is if you want to reach out to someone, it is what you say is I was just thinking of you.
Yeah.
And it's true. So you're not, I mean, if you really were thinking of them, right? So
Yeah.
and a lot of times people won't have people thinking about them. Who are people normally thinking about? Themselves. Well, if I'm thinking about you, I'm different because I'm not thinking about me. So that's a good way to really connect with people. And again, I hear the word be authentic and stuff online and everything. But be real about were you really thinking of me? And don't expect anything in return. And that goes a long way. And it sounds like you crushed that. So that's huge.
I did, but you know what? I think it goes a little deeper than, just thinking of other people. I think you have to have a certain confidence in whether it's ideas you're sharing or you're sharing other people. You have to develop that muscle of knowing that what you're doing is meaningful for that other person. And if they don't receive it well, you can't care. It's almost like I'm doing it to get the damn ideas out of my head so I stop thinking about you and your business.
I'm burning themselves. Uh,
Yeah.
well, we call that the mustard principle, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So in all of our groups, we adhere to what's called the mustard principle. And what that means is if you and I were at lunch and I had a big piece of mustard on my chin
Mhm.
and you knew I was getting ready to go out and meet another potential client or existing or doing something important, would you tell me about the mustard on my chin? Because it could make you feel awkward, right? But if you don't tell me and I go embarrass myself, then you're not really caring for me, even though it may feel awkward. So especially in our masterminds and in our interactions, whether it's in person or via Zoom, everyone adheres to that so that you're always telling someone the truth for their best interests,
Mm.
even if it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it gets a little carried away. At
Mhm.
times, people, run with the, I think they're squirting mustard on people so they can tell them what they think of them. But it's, if you set those ground rules with people, I'm always going to be honest with you. And it's not it for any other reason than to help you.
Yeah.
And it's been really powerful. And again, I say the word mastermind a lot. When you have a bunch of people that are listening and looking and they're engaged and they see it, because I can't see everything, right? I mean, as good as I am, I get mustarded all the time.
Right.
I just think that's really valuable, and it makes people will respect you more if you're honest. and they'll respect you more if you're really trying to help them, and they'll appreciate you more. And in our world, in info or coaching or whatever it is, that's literally ethically our job.
Mhm.
If I don't tell you, I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You're not if you're engaged in one of our platforms or in one of our things, and I don't feel like addressing this today because I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
It's unethical.
I thought it came because I was a dental hygienist for 25 years before I was a coach, and so I got used to looking at people's teeth,
Yeah,
and if they had something in their teeth, that was, like, my responsibility to
correct.
tell you, and I always I always crack up if I have something in my teeth and I've just talked to 3 people and nobody
Yeah.
tells me.
Well, that's most of the world. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. People don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They just want to move on about their day. And it takes a special person that actually does care. Because if I told you, and by the way, now that you said teeth, I'm subconscious on camera. My teeth.
I've never had a cavity, by the way.
That's amazing.
I
Well,
know.
if if I just don't want to deal with it, which is most
Mhm.
interaction,
Yeah.
but if I'm willing to risk our relationship that you may be offended or have your feelings hurt, but I know it will save you embarrassment when it counts. Because like if we're at lunch and you mustard on your chin, it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt me, but you go to something else and you do, or you have something in your teeth, it could hurt you because people tend to focus on the negative. Like you could be awesome and then you got a big piece of spinach in your mouth and they can't stop looking at it.
Well, I can't stop looking at it personally, like, it's painful, for me sometimes how much I notice teeth. And, I think each of us has the thing we notice about other people.
Mm.
Lots of people notice my hair. It's always different. I always have different hairstyles, different haircuts. So other people notice that about me. Well,
Do they say something or do they?
mm, no, not really, except when it was really, really short. People thought I was brave or wow, I could never go that short, but it looks amazing, and I think it was just something distinctive about me, like, I have 8 pairs of glasses, I wear glasses to match my outfit, and just in the online space because I think it's distinctive, it's different, it helps people notice me. I don't want somebody to notice me because I have spinach in my teeth, that's for sure. I floss every day, I don't know about anybody else, but,
Oh,
um and I think this idea that the human brain can remember 100 people,
mm,
give or take, right?
yeah. It's about 100. Dunbar's principle is 150.
150. Alright, so 150 people knowing me. Well, my job is for me to really know that many, and then I could have thousands of people who know who I am. Now, whether or not those thousands or tens of thousands of people actually know me, no, no. But they could know the face and, oh, the glasses or, oh, this,
So,
and that leads to business sometimes or a speaking gig.
well, we and in Assassins, we talk a lot about how you dress, what people look at. First thing in person is people look at your shoes. Number one, it's just human
Oh,
nature.
don't look today, I have slippers on, but
Like if you were profiled, my eyes subconsciously go to shoes. But we talk about a signature brand. Like I have Coastal
Mhm.
Cowboys, so pearl snaps, short sleeves,
Uh-huh.
and by the way, when I was in financial services, it was cufflinks, pocket square, tie, and it's called a tag.
Mhm.
You want to be tagged because that happens in my mind, and a lot of people take for granted how can I say this politely? How petty other people are, and they are judging you
Mhm.
from the second they see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a signature,
Women are way worse
I've
at that.
heard, I've
Yeah.
heard, but they're always looking at how do you present yourself? So we would
Mhm.
say when you're going somewhere or engaging in something, button it up. That doesn't mean you go so far above the crowd that you look ridiculous. You go one step above because I can always come down. So if I go into a meeting with a tie, I can take it off. I can't put it on.
Right.
Or if I don't have a jacket on, I can't, you know what I'm saying? We encourage our professionals, go one step above so that you stand out a little bit and you'll be remembered. And if that's the case, you're gonna, if we're in a sea of 100 people, like you said, and I am just like this much higher,
Yeah.
you'll get noticed without even match. I mean, don't wear clown pants and be crazy. That's a different thing. That's a different attention.
Little tip, don't go to the grocery store looking like a real like unrecognizable, because it only happened once where I ran into the grocery store looking like a hot mess, and who did I see but my town's only billionaire who knows who I am.
Hmm. I have a funny story about that. I don't know if we have time, but
Yeah, go ahead.
well, so kind of pre that. So when I first started out, business attire was mandatory in all financial services.
Mhm.
When I went door to door at Edward Jones in July and August, I had to wear a suit and tie. So I kind of looked like a Jehovah's Witness, but not fully. I got mistaken for it, but suit, tie, door to door, 100 degrees, and
Oh.
it's hot. And they would say that if you're going to the store, you wear what you would wear in the office and everything.
Mm.
And then I went to a different office and a different business in Merrill, and the most senior, and he won't watch this, he's long retired. The most senior advisor on Fridays would wear a Hawaiian shirt, slacks, and like sandals.
Mhm.
And it was like 2:30 on a Friday, and the most wealthy person in Champaign, he's deceased, showed up with a $2 million check to the office. And this guy's name was Greg. I'll call him out. I won't say his last name. Greg's sitting at our little coffee table area reading Wall Street Journal in a Hawaiian shirt. And he
Mhm.
was most well known. This guy walks in, and me and the sales manager at the time were working on something. We see him coming in, and we know who he is. He walks in, looks at Greg, turns around, and walks out. And we're like, and so like at that time, his name's Chris, sales manager. We both bolt out, go out in the parking lot, and we're like, Mr. I guess I can say he's deceased, Mr. Atkins. What, can we help you? And he's pissed. He's holding a check, and he's like, I came here to buy, $2 million worth of Ford stock. I'm not doing it here. He was irritated.
Wow.
So the more, and that's a long drawn story. Now we coaxed him back in, got it in, couldn't make the trade till Monday. Markets closed at 3. But he walked in and was like, no, not doing my business here.
Wow.
And the whole time, Greg had no clue. He was just thumbing through the Wall Street Journal on a Friday. So what that I always tell our people is, you never know. You never know when the wealthiest person in town is going to walk in, or if you're at the grocery store, whatever it is,
Mhm.
interact with them. So that's a very poignant thing to consider. And again, it's not trying to be petty. It's just we
Yeah.
you respond to status. So put your best foot forward. Gives you better odds.
It does.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap up with you talking about how you transitioned from financial services into what you're doing now with the coaching groups, and I know one of your groups meets in person 4 times a year, and let's touch on the value of that as well.
Sure. Well, I was in financial service, and I'll go quickly through it. I was in financial services for 20 years around there. I was insurance agent, financial rep, advisor, sales manager, all those things. And then I was the director for Illinois and Iowa, ex downtown Chicago, and the northern suburbs. And that was, I mean, I've told this story 100 times. So if anyone ever hears again, tough luck. I, I enjoyed it to a point. It really became more about, I would say it was a HR and legal job that sometimes we did some coaching and financial services is what it actually became. And that's corporate America, and you get what you ask for, and nothing wrong. That's just the way it is.
Mhm.
So that wasn't a real match for me. And I, wrestled with it for a while. In a tough situation. My wife was battling breast cancer, and I've got 5 kids, and I don't know. I actually just kind of started thinking, do I need to be on the road 3-4 days a week? Do I need this? And I came to the realization I didn't, and I resigned on a Tuesday one day and went into coaching.
Wow.
So no, I gave all my insurance benefits, restricted stock, all that stuff. I was too young, left it all behind. I took a pretty big leap of faith, and luckily, and maybe it was some skill, but I replaced our income pretty quick. Now that wasn't all my bonuses and all that, but we made it. That
Mhm.
was that. And I got into coaching, and it's what I love. And I preach to our people, find your gusher and do that over and over. And
Yeah.
we built out a coaching business. And in 22, I, took another leap. I drilled that down and turned it into what's called the line, which is the mastermind. We do meet several times a year, and it's got several components, but it's more about the people. The mechanics are, we do some coaching, we meet in person, but it's finding the right people that are hungry and wanting the same things. We talk about maximizing your income, multiplying your wealth, and making your family indestructible. And born out of that was something called Sales Assassins, where I teach pillars through some what we call the invaluables, because it's an invaluable skill set. You can go anywhere, do it in any place, any community, online, whatever it is. If you learn it, you can build a business with it without having to do a bunch of other bullshit. Sorry. But
Yep.
so, and that started with some of the sales teams from our Lions. And then we grew that to people from outside the line. And we have, I think we're 30 plus now in Assassins. And, they're really just focused on, you know, learning how to get people to know, like, and trust them and pay them and build lifelong relationships. And pillars, we've mentioned a few times, it's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
It's not a spreadsheet. It's not a tactic. It's a lifestyle. I spend
Yeah.
people I like doing what I like, and we both, benefit financially. That's the true definition of wealth. So if you get it down and you're good at it and it becomes unconscious competence, that's what you do. Like, what I do is I talk to people like you or my clients all day long. I do all the stuff I want to do. I live in the Gulf of Mexico, and I don't have all the stress and irritation that I once had because I don't have it all.
Yeah.
And our clients are, Jason and I, the one you haven't watched, the Assassins last year all doubled. So whatever their target was, they doubled. And our inner circle, I mean, the people in there are doing incredible things. I mean, it's one of those things where it's almost taken on its own life, the way I
Mhm.
describe it. And it's my job to make sure the right people are there and that they get results. Because I delved into a little bit, and I probably talked about it in our podcast. It's called the info space or info marketing, or what, where you do. And and I say delve, I probably didn't spend enough time there to really see it through. But what I found was that focus is on my results, my videos, who watches me, how many clicks. It's all about me.
Yeah.
Where our business is focused on our clients and their results. And as long as we're doing everything we can to get them the results, they keep, intact, stay with us, and keep growing. So it took me a while to kind of figure that out in my mind. It's like you see all these things that you think are what you really want to do. And then you pull the curtain back and you realize all metrics, all outreach, all strategy is about you
Yeah.
and not about them. They couldn't care less if you get results.
Yeah.
And it didn't. Maybe I'm old or old fashioned. It didn't sit well with me, and I wasn't really good at it because I just felt like it didn't. I knew what the motive was,
Yeah.
and people can tell you all day long they want to impact people, and that maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm preaching and you want to cut me off, but one thing I think we both know is this: without accountability, coaching, and continued connection, people aren't going to do it.
Correct.
Just making the sale. So it goes back to the relationship. I want people that, the way that we sever ties is one of us dies. That's
Yeah.
in my, when I think of someone coming into what I'm doing, I'll do whatever it takes.
Same.
I get texts and calls and 5 in the morning, 10. I had one at 10:45 last night. I want, some people don't want that. They want a barrier between them and the people they're trying to serve. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I need to fly in and bail you out, I will. But that's, in my mind, the difference. And it has allowed us to build a very profitable business
Mhm.
and maintain our integrity around the results, which I think in the other thing, it's like you got it. One of them has to give. So
Yeah.
that's what,
Yeah. Well, I think what I like the most about what you're saying is one, I totally agree. I'm 100% vested in my members that are paying
yeah,
late. and my one-on-one clients. But what I heard and that I like the most is that you build a coaching practice quicker than most. 96% of coaches make under $100,000 a year. So
Right.
you were in the top 4% almost immediately because of what you're teaching other people. Like, you don't get more authentic than that. I'm 100% positive that your first coaching clients came from people you already knew.
Yeah. And my first one was my insurance agent. When I told him that I needed liability insurance for my business, he's like, "What are you doing?"
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
that was number one. And
Amazing.
number two in his company that year. So I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah.
Although,
And that, most coaches when they're starting think that they need a website and a funnel and a CRM, and they're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I know I'm spending $1,400 a month trying to acquire people,
mhm.
and it never worked. I learned all of that stuff, and it never worked for me. And you just demonstrated that you don't need those things.
You just need one of these.
Just need one of those.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, Joe, this is absolutely incredible. How can my listeners and followers get in touch with you?
The best way is anywhere you listen to a podcast, look at the Sales Assassin podcast. You'll see me there. Croft will be there too, but I'm kind of the candy of that. And then at Real Joe Blackburn on YouTube. So those two places is the best way to connect with us. You can watch what we do and hear us talk more and connect if, something we do, something you like. So,
Love it. Thanks so much for
thank you. I love it.
joining blind today.
That's how I do it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you. Everyone, follow Joe on LinkedIn, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the podcast. I will link it in the comments here with our friend Jason Croft. And thank you again for being here and making my Friday.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good
You're
to see you.
welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Unlock Your Way. I hope you found today's discussion inspiring and you're ready to take your business and personal growth to that next level. If you're feeling as fired up as I am and eager to unlock that full potential, I'm here to help you on your journey and provide that personalized guidance tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Simply book a one-on-one coaching call with me and we'll dive deep into your business aspirations and see how we could co-create a roadmap for your success. And whether you're striving to scale an enterprise or just getting started, I'm here to support you every step of the way. To schedule your coaching call, simply visit the website at unlockyourwaywithstk.com, click on the Book a Call button, and we'll turn your dreams into that reality. Subscribe and review on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Plus, you can join over 800 entrepreneurs in the Idea Lab Facebook group. Let's make success as an entrepreneur happen together. Until next time, I'm STK. Keep dreaming big, stay focused, and most of all, have fun while you're doing it.